Hello and welcome to another segment of Diego's Fine Art Craft Ventures. How are you doing today? Sort of a very rapid workshop we're going to have today. It's a little bit at night, so the lighting isn't the best. Let me arrange that lighting just a little bit better. There we go, it's a little bit better. So here we go to doing, what we're doing today is going to do a little bit of gold leafing on these masks I have. Here's one mask, and here goes the second mask. I'm going to do the gold leaf on work. This mask now is going to be doing some gold leaf work. But before I start the actual gold leaf processing and line this is the actual gold leaf. You have little sheets of gold leaf and silver leaf right here. I'm going to show them to you really quick. Come in these little packets, just like this. And there, one little piece has escaped a little bit, but come in little packets, little squares that look just like that. How about that? They're very, very light and very difficult to manage, actually. Very difficult to manage. It takes a lot of practice to get any good at it at all. Before you place this gold leaf, you have to place this adhesive. Actually, almost any adhesive will work. You can either buy the adhesive at a store, or you could use any resin or even varnish will work also, just as well. But since I happen to have that adhesive near me right now, I'll use that adhesive for this particular project that I'm working on right now since it's raw. But you can use any sort of varnish will do also, just fine. And we're going to do a little bit more gold leafing on this piece. And we're going to be starting with painting again our adhesive. So it's this white, milky substance. Actually, it's sort of a glue. And it becomes very, very tacky after it's connected to the air. There you go. Do that. There we go. And we're going to do a little bit of painting with that. There we go. Here and there throughout this mask. There we go. There we go. See, I'm sort of just placing it here and there. Not quite abandoned, but sort of just here and there throughout this particular mask. This mask is just the lower section. There we go. Again, it's just sort of a milky white adhesive. There's no real magic to the actual formula of this. You can use varnish. A lot of other things you can use, but you can even use glue, believe it or not. But actually, this is a little bit easier to work with. This, or even like I said, just a varnish, a wood varnish. And you just take that literally out of the can or the jar or whatever you get your wood varnish from. You can also use that as well. It's the same. You'll accomplish the same thing. And I guess, yeah, I've never seen any difference between both of those. So we're sort of adhering that sort of throughout this bottom section of this piece, not quite indiscriminately, just here and there. There we go. Sort of painting throughout the lower part of this mask. Not quite with abandon, but with a little bit looser attitude or balance to my brush. Sort of painting throughout that lower section. And we'll just let that dry over here. Here you won't be able to see for a few seconds. And we're going to start working on our Diablo mask. And so we've already placed gold leaf onto the mask, both front and back. I'm going to add a little bit of silver leaf to this particular piece. And not quite with abandon, but Just a little here and there. There we go. There we go. Sort of dancing with my brush throughout the mask area. And I'm using silver leaf in this particular piece. Actually, later I'm using some copper leaf actually on some other areas of this mask. I think it's looking very interesting. Well, it certainly needs a lot more work. I'll be adding a lot more feathers and that sort of stuff later on. But this is interesting as well. Okay. Add it to the front. At the front but side of both those masks. And we have to let those dry for about 20-30 minutes. Yeah, so I'm going to make sure to clean off my brush really well. There you go. Clean off my brush. Because this stuff, it really seals up. I mean, it'll seal anything, even clothes. It's an adhesive. So again, this is your sort of standard adhesive for gold leaf, and you can use a lot of other stuff. You can use resin, you can use even tacky glue or even Elmer's glue, but also you can just use varnish. Yeah, probably the best thing is varnish or the actual commercial brand, this, which comes with the package of gold leaf. So we're gonna let that dry. With that, so we sort of end our session for today. Sort of end our session for today. Other than that, I wish you a good night. How are you doing there? Good night. So we have to